We are 3DS, three dudes who have a common interest in cryptocurrency, finance, technology, sports science, politics, and current events. The content provided in this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and is not intended to be, nor should it be construed as financial advice. The opinions expressed are those of the hosts and guests and do not represent professional financial guidance. Always consult with a certified financial advisor or conduct your own research before making any investment decisions. Listeners act on this information at their own risk. Welcome back. Episode 8. We got Nate in the building. We got Corey in the building. We got a lot of news to cover. It's like every day this stuff is ripping off, and we do this once a week, and it feels like we are so far behind already. So let's get into it.
We're behind in the moment. It's happening as fast as we can put it down.
That's right. That's right. If you haven't, subscribe, like, thank you. Appreciate y'all watching. We do this, just to fuck around and catch up with one another and talk shit and just so happen to record it. So it is what it is. The fact that you guys watch and you like it, we appreciate that.
Yeah, hopefully you learn something a little bit.
Yeah, that's the intent, right? Well, right off the rip, let's just go out and say one of the things that has evolved since last Wednesday is on a state level, the adoption is going, going, going. It is taking off, ladies and gentlemen. We're up to 19 states now. That's huge. On a state level, that is huge. I mean, down there in your state, y'all are rocking and rolling. Up there in the north, Midwest, y'all are rocking and rolling. I mean, it's happening. The state level is probably going to happen before the federal level, and I want to ask you guys, what state do you think is going to get there first?
Good question.
To
Um,
get all their legislation passed, and who's going to be collecting the or putting
Utah.
in? You think Utah?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I feel like they came out a little later than some of the other states as far as announcing they were putting a bill in, but they were quicker as far as to get ahead of these guys. So I feel like they're moving with more urgency.
Yeah, I mean, I would track that too. It seemed like you first in, first out, right? In that sense, if your paperwork stamped and ready to go before anyone else's, because you've already made it this far in the process, I would imagine so. But you never know how it's going to work out within the realm of Congress and approvals and disapprovals because of maybe other political ties or something along those lines. But I don't think it's very far from now, and I think I agree with Corey on that.
Yeah, I can see Arizona too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Just from a working outside of with certain departments in these states, Utah has definitely displayed a willingness to step outside of the box a little bit. And also, I mean, and it's well represented here. I'm surprised to see Florida far back as they are. I would think Florida would be one of the front runners. But Arizona also is a pretty innovative state. So kudos to them.
I
Y'all
don't
are going to
know.
be the first ones in. But this is just a quick little graphic to kind of get your eyes on it and see what's going on there.
But I'm glad you brought it up because this is kind of what I was saying. So Florida and Pennsylvania announced that they were doing this before Utah did. Am I
Yeah,
correct
back
on
in
that?
23, I believe they announced that they were. It was the end of like 23, early 24. They were talking about it.
I feel like Utah just announced it probably like a
Yes,
month or two ago, and
yes,
they're already ahead. So that's just why I was saying like they're moving swifter.
Yeah, and
yep.
then you have to look at those local governments to see how it got through there that fast and XYZ. There's all kinds of different affiliations that may have negated some progress in some areas and maybe less in others. So things to consider. But again, I think the adoption is right on cue. We were talking about it months and months ago. State levels, people are like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" This is exactly what I was talking about. And then you'll see it even more localized, I think, in the near future.
Yeah, it's funny because they show the map and we're using orange for Bitcoin, and you get the states that are, and after we went off on Wednesday and came back Thursday, there was an announcement, and then all through the weekend there was these different states announcing this, like the state maps are just populating orange. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even keep up with everything that's going on. It's been pretty incredible to watch just over a 7 day window. I'm excited. I think, having that said, moving into the federal side, big things happened this past week. We had David Sachs come out and say, lay out their framework of how they're going to attack with their crypto task force, how they're going to, what they're prioritizing, how they're moving forward. Cynthia Loomis has been very much in the picture. She's attacking the what are they calling it, choke point 2.0, or she's got some crafty name for it. She's attacking that, getting rid of these folks. But ultimately, I think we're heading down the right path for this overall adoption. David Sachs also mentioned that this sovereign wealth fund that the U.S. is creating, there's a very real possibility of digital assets being within that as well, not necessarily one specifically, but multiples. So on a grand scale, this is why we say keep your eyes on the horizon. Don't panic. This is just part of the plan, because man, oh man, you glance over at this chart right here and it doesn't look great right now. I'm sure everybody's portfolio is a little down right now, but when you know where it's going and you understand this system and the amount of money that is going to come into this market, I don't know. It dropping 40% over the past weekend is, it hurts, but I know what's coming.
You're the
So with
Oracle.
Well, not the Oracle, it's just doing your research, understanding how things work, and okay, well, this is what's going to happen. This is what is happening. We have 3.19 trillion in the market right now. It's expected to be 10, 12 trillion by the end of this bull run. Expected being the key word, but also, like we just talked about, these state level adoptions, they haven't even passed yet. It's when they pass, when this federal passes, when this sovereign wealth comes through, ladies and gentlemen, we got so much money coming in. It's disgusting. I mean, you had ARK Invest today talking about, we're on their bullish scenario. We're right on time for their 1.5 million of Bitcoin. Like, that is ridiculous numbers. Are you kidding me? 1.5 million. And also, let's not forget, Bitcoin's floating around 97K. It wasn't that long ago that we were like, break 100. Now we get over 100. We're floating sideways on 100, and everybody's tripping out and it's always the want more, want more, want more. So what are you going to do?
To add to your point, as much as we want it to go up and keep going up. Uh, we haven't really had any significant pullbacks. I mean, we have little ones here. This is probably the biggest one we've had recently. It was a 15, almost 16% drop from 109 to 91.7. So that's normal. Like that's literally normal. Bitcoin typically pulls back 20 to 30% in a bull run, and we're only at 15%. It just feels worse when you're above 100 going to 110 and then it goes back to
Hmm.
90. But in hindsight, we're doing the same exact thing we did from April April to October. I just don't think it will be as long as a wait this go around. That whole range bounce around 20K from 50 to 60 will go up, touch 70, maybe 72, get knocked back down to 50. I mean, it feels like we're doing the same thing. It's just the number has changed. So I think the next, again, next, we got about two more legs up, in my opinion. Major runs, anyways.
You heard it here. Corey thinks we got two more candles to throw out there. Big boys or girls, whatever you're into. All right. So now that that was the, we might have
Sorry,
some
my
technical
bad.
difficulties.
I
There we
had
go.
muted myself. I was going to say you made a lot of points there, but two things I would point out is the patience factor. And to one of Corey's points, it makes it a lot harder when you feel like you're reading so much good news and nothing is happening practically in the 24 hours because it hasn't waved through the system yet. So it hasn't trickled in. So I think you just, again, be patient, stack it while you can. I bought some more Ondo 2 days ago, things like that, cost average in. And then on the federal side, you said something about it being a little delayed, but you're looking at around 6 months is what they're saying for the clarity on the SEC side.
Hmm.
So not that far, but also you don't have a lot of time to manage your funds and get them in the right place.
That's right.
You still have plenty. I'm not. That's not like a fear thing. It's just 6 months compared to somebody who's got 5, 6 years, 10 years of managing funds is just a little short of a time frame. So
Oh
I
yeah.
think I think that 6 months is kind of funny how it lines up. They're talking they'll have it by what was that, August? Yeah, August. What happens around October? It's not gonna pump in August. Like they're gonna come out and say, "Oh, we have clarity now," and it's probably gonna do just like when Trump said they were gonna do a stockpile. Price didn't move, it dropped. We'll probably see that something similar around August. They'll come out and announce it. Price doesn't move, maybe move a little, and then give it a month. Let it, like he was saying, let it take effect in the system, and then we'll see it move.
Okay. Well, I mean, let's not get lost on the fact that this is just the US that we were talking about. I mean, there's an international race to the reserve. I mean, El Salvador's already rocking and rolling, but there is plenty of other countries that are racing to get their clarity and laws put in place to start adopting it as well. Um, but you said something there, and I wanted to kind of strum that chord, if you will. You believe heavily in the 4 year cycle. So, do you believe that we will start seeing a pump here soon, or do you think it's going to happen later in the year, as mentioned a moment ago?
Um, I think by March, middle to the end of March, we should see our leg up. That's my one leg up, and then maybe we might have a slow grind until end of April, May. Sell in May, walk away. Play with things in the summer that are popping. I mean, when I say sell in May, walk away, I don't mean sell your entire bag. I just mean if it sticks to the 4 year cycle, it's a good time to take some profits because typically Bitcoin is going to have a pullback. some alts will come down. But this is where you got to be vigilant because during summer, you're going to have certain projects that are just going to go crazy. For example, in 21, I know Axie, it's a game,
Hmm.
and that coin was going insane. Like, and I didn't buy it. I kind of just watched it because I was just kind of like, what the hell is going on? But it went from like $50 or not $50, like $5 up to one like 150 or something. So I was just kind of like, dang, like I was still learning the game at the time, but uh there was a few coins that were popping around there. And then as we were moving into the fall, September hit. Again, not a good month for Bitcoin historically. It was kind of dipping a little bit. Things like Cardano and a couple other projects started really moving. And all the way into October, that's when you seen Sheeb and Doge hit that massive candle. Uh, Gala did, Crow did, and then November, everybody just got washed, hosed down. But I do think the 4 year cycle will stay intact for the sense of even though these institutions and these corporations are coming into play, if they've done their research like I believe they have, the 4 year cycle still works in their favor as well. Everybody wants cheaper prices. Everybody wants those massive gains. So again, I feel like they kind of want that to work in their favor too, because if they can do essentially what other people are doing is taking profits when in the bull run and then buying in the bear market, that's where your money goes exponentially
Hmm.
up.
Yeah.
Um, I just think it's gonna I feel like lower, it's gonna raise the floor and it's gonna raise the ceiling with them being involved. Just again, like you said, the amount of
Lower
money
the
that's gonna
floor and
flow.
raise the ceiling.
No, not lower the floor. The floor where we used to drop 80%, now we might only drop 65, 70%.
Okay.
So, and then also adding to where we go up. Or maybe one could argue maybe the ceiling is lower, with the whole diminishing returns and everything. Um, Again, that's a whole nother rabbit hole in
Yeah.
theory, you could say, that people are throwing around, but it is true that Bitcoin has had less returns every bull run, but we're kind of at a breaking point where that theory is not going to be able to stay intact unless we don't go above like, I mean, even now, right now, the 5.3 has kind of been invalidated because it was saying we weren't going to get to 100K and we're just hovering here. So I don't know. Again, I'm still in the 4 year cycle thing. I'm going to stick what's been working, and if until proven otherwise, until it's invalidated.
I mean, there's a lot of motion, and it's hard to believe that with the adoption, not just states, federal, world, that we're not going to see that breaking point that you alluded to a moment ago. I
What
mean,
if it's what if Satoshi put it in the coding in the algorithm for it to be like that? Because essentially he did with the whole halvening.
that's the speed limit, if you will.
That's what, yeah, yeah, exactly. But to your point, all the money coming in is just getting like pack in. Again, it's just like a spring, like just getting condensed and condensed. And there's so much more money than before that when it does pop, I mean, it goes crazy.
Thank you, Satoshi.
I mean, we're seeing $30,000 runs now. Like that's kind of
It's huge.
crazy.
That's
Yeah,
huge.
you're going from 60 to 100 in the course of a month. Like good luck finding that in your stonks. You got to be trading penny stocks, and good luck if you with that
Yeah, high volume penny stocks. Jesus, that's a nightmare in and of itself.
for sure. I mean, it's essentially meme coins of the stock world.
Yeah.
It's just more formalized. They have a suit and tie.
Speaking of meme coins, Grayscale put a ETF in for Dogecoin. Granted, it's like the granddaddy of meme coins, but it's still a meme coin and has a little bit more utility than I'd say 98%. Don't quote me on those numbers, but it has more utility than most meme coins, aka shit coins. I think it's pretty cool. There's been so many ETFs that have come out in the past week that the list is just too exhaustive to list off everything, but almost all of your top 50 coins are some type of ETF was filed for it. I guess that
Yeah,
would be
there's
the
quite a
best
few.
way to generalize it.
Solana, HBAR, XRP, Litecoin, Doge. What else did I see? Those were the most popular ones I was seeing. Bitcoin, I mean, and Bitcoin, of course. Like, I don't think that needs to be
Hmm.
stated at this point.
Yeah,
But
just by different institutions that uh, don't have it already.
right,
Yep.
Ethereum. Uh, yeah, so the ETFs, I think, again, it's just another accelerator in that process of where we're trying to get to. And then, beyond the ETFs, we start looking at tokenization on the bonds and stocks and stuff like that. So it just goes up and up over time because that's not a short process, tokenizing the entire stock market and, traditional finance and just switching it over. I mean, it sounds easy, but I don't think it's as fast as people would hope it to be or have that expectation for it to be. So
Hold the phone. We're going to do something different. What are your top five right now? We're going to just throw it out there right now.
right now,
Nate,
uh, H bar, Ondo. I should have said Bitcoin first because Bitcoin's always relevant now. XRP and Cardano.
Cardano. Okay. Corey, we'll circle back to you as the show evolves. Um,
Man,
But Ondo did
yeah,
so.
we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. I
Uh,
got a plan.
Ondo launched a platform to do such things as bring the stocks and bonds and all those ETFs on chain. So
Yo, yeah.
it's just a matter of time.
Ondo is huge big big bull on Ondo. I think I said that last week, saying it again this week. Ondo has been popping. Yes, Corey.
since we're talking about this, did you see what Elon Musk has suggested in his Doge
Mm-hmm.
department of basically putting government spending on the blockchain so it can be
He has confirmed he wants to put the US Treasury on the blockchain. Yeah, that was my next point I was gonna bring up. I actually had it right here in the notes.
my
And
bad,
that's
my
I
bad.
mean that's also in line with RFK wanting to put the elections and everything that's involved in the electoral process on the blockchain as well, so it's more public to those people who are paying for it and donating, all the constituents and things like
What
that.
what chain would you guys put
Ooh,
let's just say the voting process. What chain would you put that on?
Bitcoin. Only because it's the largest, most distributed one. So it would be harder to manipulate.
I guess it would depend on how it impact because if it's I don't know, I'd put it on H bar.
I've I've heard echoes that it could potentially go on Cardano.
Yeah, that's another good project because they are decentralized too. They're one of the most decentralized besides Bitcoin. Uh, dang, I had a thought. I lost it.
It's all right.
We'll
Just
find it.
don't raise your hand, but chime in.
It's in the ether.
Ethereum this week. had a little bit of a pump. Obviously, it pulled back. Everything pulled back, by the way. Let's just everybody chill the fuck out. These are great times. These are perfect moments to buy in, get the folks that missed it on the initial pump to buy in and join the parade because I tell you what, I I was buying it up this weekend when everything started crashing down and all the memes are coming out and people are talking about I went up 15% and I lost 60, whatever. Again,
Not our
eyes
fault
on
you
the
bought at
horizon.
109.
I'm sorry.
It's not our fault you bought at 109.
Nope, nope, not fault at all. Been telling folks in our little circles for over what 5 years now, 6 years now. I guess I mean like 2018 is when I got in initially, but I didn't talk about it. It's like 6 years now. Small circles, rounding up our little crews, yo. And even today, we were talking about it with one of the homeboys, and man, you got to tell me how to do this. Just download the app. That's all you got to do. Just download the app. That's the start. That shows me that you're going to take initiative to want to do this. I don't want to waste my breath if you're not going to, put forth the effort to. And also, we do this weekly. You can listen in, figure some things out.
I have a question for you guys.
Shoot,
How long is it and when is it going to be that blockchain is a household name, so to speak, kind of like the internet was, where every American uses it on a daily basis? When do you think that it will be? Because we're talking about tokenizing stocks and all that. So what happens when they tokenize it and people are interacting with blockchain or whatever it may be, whether it's a game, stocks, whatever, music, art?
my bull case is 2030. My bear case is 2035. I think that as the boomers die off, they're the ones that are holding such a large amount of wealth, and there's going to be a lot of wealth changing hands. I think that 2030 is kind of it's earmarked for me because we're moving at such a rapid rate of adoption. We're moving at such a rapid rate of crypto being accepted and more and more people are understanding crypto. And so as that older generation goes away, even like our generation is starting to get to the top, right? Where these younger folks, that's all they're going to know. It'd be the same as telling somebody, "Hey, can you give me a check?" They're gonna be like, "Motherfucker, what? What is that?" Or even, "Hey, a credit card's gonna be like, what is that? Where's your QR code?" So that's where I'm at. 2030, 2035, latest.
I don't know. That's his bull case. I got you at about 18 to 24 months.
Whoa.
Dang, I like it. I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
I hope I'm right too, but I need to fucking speed up. That's my bull case. Bear case would probably be 2030, but
Okay.
I don't think I'm I don't think I'm wrong. And I'm specifically answering your first question, which was like a very generalized, just everybody knows its household name and they're utilizing it in some sort of way. Because these motherfuckers got kids, and I'm telling you, with the crypto adoption in the gaming, the crypto adoption, I mean, literally everywhere, it's
No,
going to be.
I think you're accurate. I don't think it's like a far-fetched thing to say that because I would say that the thought and the idea has already been planted in people's heads. Maybe not everybody, but like people know what Bitcoin is. They know what Doge is. Like they if they heard blockchain, they might have an idea.
That's the part that
Um,
scares people when you start like diving in, and it's not scary, but that's the thing that scares people. We know some folks in our family that they get a little frazzled when they start hearing some of the nomenclature.
yeah. Well, I mean, even talking at work with talking with my manager about it. I was telling him because he's got H bar. He bought H bar a year ago, put it like 1,000. He's like, oh, it's like $2,000 now. He's like, I don't know what to do. I just leave it in there. I'm like, well, leave it in there for now. I was like, you should probably buy some more. I'm just like, price is at a good point. He's like, well, it's not cheaper than when I bought it. I was like, no, but it probably will never go back down that low with the way they're being implemented and growing as a company, and just all the things coming down the pipeline. But I was just explaining to him, he's like, I just don't have time for it. He's like, I don't know. I was like, you have 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes. He's like, I just give all my savings to my financial advisor, let him invest in the market, and I'll be retired in 30 years. It's like, sounds miserable. Have fun.
There's
I'll try to.
something fun that I heard today. They're talking about doing, instead of just a traditional savings account for families who are saving for their children to go to college, rather than doing a traditional savings for college, they're now implementing cryptocurrency into and that there was a study that was um, being conducted for it. Obviously, it's pretty new, so they don't have a lot of data just yet, but it's just another facet that it's being implemented into.
Yeah, and you got Oklahoma gonna, have the legislation in place to where if you want to get paid in Bitcoin, you can get paid in Bitcoin. Or then how long after that until these other currencies work out in a better situation for those companies, especially once they have the tax freedom with
Mm-hmm.
the ISO compliant coins. You're talking about tax free, no gains, no nothing. So why would they not start utilizing some of these other protocols and blockchains and whatever you want to call it, software, crypto?
Absolutely. You imagine the 401. I mean, people have been talking about 401 going away for so long. You get a 401 and all of a sudden now they say, hey, you don't have to do 401. We can do a weekly, however you get paid, monthly, bi-weekly, allotment into a Bitcoin reserve. And the amount of taxes that the employer is going to save on is probably something that isn't talked about enough. Because as you know, we get taxed whatever it is, 7.5%, but the employer also gets that tax for each employee. So that's
Yeah, it's
just
called
a
a payroll tax.
right. But that's that's something that I don't think a lot of folks understand when they're like, oh my God, boy, motherfuckers don't pay. It's like their employers are eating it too.
Yeah, the corporate tax rate, I mean, it was 24.6 or something like that. It was something
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous.
All right, Corey, hit me with your top five.
Top five. I'm gonna say ETH. I feel like
E.
it's a sleeping giant right now in a sense. When you look at World Liberty Finance, they're loading up on it. What's his
Eric
name?
Eric
Eric
Trump.
Trump is damn near chilling it right now at this point.
He said,
Uh,
"Thank me later."
yep. So I mean, you got to take this stuff with a grain of salt, but I feel like if somebody like if they're doing it, it's watch what they're doing, not watch what they're saying. If he just said that, it would be one thing. But the fact that the project that they're tied to is buying it and everybody sees it on the blockchain, and then he comes out and saying it, that's different. So ETH Gala, it's a it's a ERC coin gaming
I'm about to
token
put you back on a timer.
built
Man,
back on Ethereum. Cosmos,
There it is.
solid.
If y'all don't got Cosmos and you ain't staking Cosmos,
V Chain, and Crow has been killing it. They have everything on their app now. It can be a little congested and they need to get their in more streamlined, but uh they got the right idea. Put it like that. They
yeah,
got
yeah,
you could gamble, you could buy stocks on there, you could
You,
buy crypto baskets, you could buy spot crypto, and I think they even have leverage now. So
NFTs, leverage, sports
They,
betting. You name it.
yeah, I would say then they have their own wallet, they have their own DeFi. So yeah, they're really
I'll say I don't love their app. I rather use
Coinbase.
Coinbase over crypto.com, but I mean, I'm indifferent. But it's a hot wallet to me. I just it seems like when you got competition, you want to just change the wording around for no fucking reason. It's like, let me just send my shit or let me just transfer my shit. Why you got to make it all these different, like, I don't, it's just not as easy on there. If I go on Coinbase, I know exactly where I'm going. I would call this would be a very vague comparison, but I would call crypto.com an Android versus the interface of Coinbase being like Apple. It's very simple. It's very easy to use. Now they got the advanced settings, but that's how I interact with it.
Fair enough. Well, that's kind of why I said their app needs to be more streamlined because it does glitch out. It's easy to use. I mean,
Yeah.
all you got to do is just click on things and read what the hell you're doing, and it's pretty self-explanatory. But as far as the app goes, it's glitchy. I know I have issues with the Google Pay. Sometimes when I try to buy stuff, the transaction will fail, and then I got to do it a couple times to get it go through. So I don't know if that's just a me thing, but I know one of my friends had an issue, same thing. So I mean, again, if they can get that streamlined and figured out, then they're at the top of the crop. So
All right. Well, you pick yours. I mean, those aren't the only two out there. It's just the ones that we talked about this week. There's plenty of other ones to choose from. I just have all my stuff between the two of them, and I'm not getting another one because who needs that many hot wallets?
Everybody.
Everybody. Corey,
I
you got
even look
some
at it
game
like
for
a
the
hot
people
wallet.
this week?
I mean, yeah, we could go back into the charts because last week we did what DCA.
Mm-hmm.
I can show some charts real quick just because it's been nasty lately.
Shredder.
Give them something to look forward to.
Yeah,
Give them
why are you
something to
pulling
talk
it up?
about.
We'll give us
Stir
something to
them
look
up a little
forward to
bit.
when the banks start
I
custodying
mean,
this
we give
crypto.
them that every week. If they're not stirred up and fired up over all the information that we're giving you, all the news coming down the pipeline, then I don't know what's going to get you fired up. Last week when we did it, we were pretty lit. Like, was that last week when they signed the bill for
I think it would
the
have been
stockpile?
episode 6.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So yeah,
So it
that
just
wasn't,
dropped last night.
you know, so I mean, again, the news, I guess, can get you excited. The chart, can you see the chart?
Oh yeah, we're seeing it.
All right. So I this is what I was doing earlier. So from top up here to this bottom wick, 15.83%. It's really not that bad. And the reason why I said that too is if we go back here, this is looks this
Mhm.
is that range. We go up to the 73, come down 62, 72, come down 61, crash a little further, get these nice liquidation wicks, go to 58, back to 70. I mean, it's very reminiscent. And then we just blast it off right here. Once we broke this and we really ripped through it, I feel like we're going to have a similar situation. Once we break this line and we hold and get a nice solid close up here, like how this went, we closed and then we broke back down and then we broke above it. We got some closes and it just kept going and going and going. It was in discovery mode till it hit its head on that 100. Well, really, it hit its head on that 100K right there. That's what I mean by psychological levels. So, I mean, what stopped? There was nothing here to stop us as far as a technical level. It was just 100 grand and it hit 99 388 and then came back down to 90 and then we just been ranging here. So I feel like we got maybe another month, another month. March is going to be a good month. That's how I feel. I feel like March is going to be like this. And then maybe we do something else like this where we grind up, maybe go up a little more, come back down up into May and summer, and then again, I'm 4 year cycle maxing. So if you guys haven't got the point there, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You know, like I'm not tripping, I'm not panicking. If we came down here and we broke and we fell down in here into the 80 range, you know, now then you got to kind of like reevaluate. But we're not doing
I'm
that.
look
We're
at that
holding
one
tight.
wick. If you can zoom in right there on that one wick that touches the bottom, though, that thing was serious. I mean, it's a
And
green stick, but Jesus.
and these lines have been here. So this line was here, I think, when we were doing I know this candle, we did an episode on this one. That was like the 3 weeks ago. And then again, look at this wick. That's what I'm saying. Every time we get to 109, they don't want us to go that high right now. They keep selling us off and we keep trying to go and then getting rejected. Buying pressure, they're not the bulls are not going to let it go below this. Even though they were trying to hold this line at the 100K mark, they got us the other day with this crap. But as far as the larger time frames go, this is a good sign. We got bought up. Look at that monthly candle. Beautiful. We need another one of these. Same kind of similar situation though from earlier last year. Hold on. There's something I was gonna show you that I seen. I want to show you. Uh, this ain't it. All right, I had a spot in the chart that I was going to show you guys, but I can't find it. But moral of the story is we're just bouncing around in the range right now. So don't panic. We still it's holding. It's the altcoins that are the ones that are getting hit hard because Bitcoin's dropping and just kind of going still. But I mean, this is your time to buy and get coins that you were at a high price. Now are at a I wouldn't say they're at it super cheap, but they're cheaper than they were a month ago. Like things like XRP was a what 350. Now it's at 240. It's a great time to scoop it up. Cardano was above $1. It's at 74 cents. Scoop it up.
Great price.
So Bitcoin's under 100 grand. Scoop it up. So again, we're just chilling. We're ranging right now. No need to worry. Again, when in doubt, zoom out. We're
When
just
in
cruising,
doubt, zoom
man.
out.
We're just cruising, man. It's up and up.
Take them back to the old 5 year charts, Corey. Look at that thing.
Look at it. This is the weekly chart. So this is going all the way back. Here, we'll go to the monthly. Screw it. It's a little easier. Look at that thing. Just up and up. The green, the green marks the top of the bull runs. The red marks the bottom of the bear, and the gold is the happening. So that's what those vertical lines are all about. So again, look what happens after every happening. Happening happen, price moves up. You hit your bear market top. We're in November of 2013. A year and 2 months later, you're at the floor here. You could call that the floor, but we really maintain this 222 level. And then the halvening happens, price moves up. December, again, people pay attention to where the tops are. November it was in 13, then top was in December of 17. The bottom was in December of 18, so a year out. Halvening happens in 2020. A year later, what a coinky dink. You're back in November of 21. A year later, in December 22, you're at the bottom. Halvening happens. And then I'm going to have another one right here in November of 25 because this is going to be the top. And then we're going to have a bottom a year from there.
Should have
maybe
more.
a year and a month. It might be that range. That's why when it's not happening immediately, like back here in 21. So in 21 of actually, yep, 21 of January, we opened at 28,976 and we closed at 33,138. So we had a good green month then. I think we're going to make up for it not really moving in January next month or this month and next month in February. Because look at February. February opened up at 33,128 and closed at 45,000. These are only $10,000 swings, people. December or November was a $20,000 swing. So this is what I mean by the all the extra money coming in just adds fuel to the fire for it to move up. So we just had the highest candle close in history just recently. So obviously this one is still to be determined because this is for February. But I mean, even January wasn't that great of a month. We still closed higher than we ever have. We closed out at 102. Price came down. I'm telling you, it's just getting bullish, folks. It's getting bullish. It don't feel like it, but it is. So that's all I have to say for that. Uh, just when in doubt, zoom out. We're just ranging. Again, you get to that top of the range and you're like, yeah, we're at 110, we're going to 120, and then you just get swatted down. So I've learned from a trading perspective, you can trade the range or you could trade the breakout. Every time I've ever tried to trade the breakout, when it gets to that 109, I put my call in or I put my play in and I think it's going to break higher. Boom, lose money. Most of the time, it's going to sit in the range. So if it bounces in that range 10, 15 times, it only breaks out one time. You get what I'm saying? I'd rather make the profit on the inside. I don't, I mean, yeah, it's great when you hit those big home runs, but you'll almost make more money playing this game and then selling at the resistance and support lines than trying to catch the big breakout.
When it's going up, sell in increments, just like you would DCA when it's down. When it's down,
DCA
you
in and
DC.
DCA out.
Yep, DCA in. When it's sideways, you hold. It's the easiest thing to remember. Three concepts, super easy.
And another good sign, this is a really good sign. I just noticed this on Coin Market Cap, the fear and greed is down in the fear area. So we're at a 38.
Yep.
That's great. We're at 97,000 and people are scared. Wonderful. Wonderful. This is when things turn around. This is when things turn around. You're going to watch it go from a 38 to a 90 in a couple weeks.
Run it up.
So, because I know you brought that up a couple of episodes ago. We had ran up and we were high 70s and the 80s. And I think you mentioned you're like, oh, I don't like the fear and greed index. Well, I mean, you were kind of right because we kind
I
of
tend to
lost our
be.
momentum. Oh Lord, here he goes.
It's big enough already.
Just so y'all know,
Covers the
for
whole D.
to circle back around to the beginning of the episode, and we were talking about states. Arizona has now passed the reserve bill across the Democrats and the Republican caucus. Now they're moving to the general floor. So
Game on, ladies and gentlemen.
the
This
race
year,
to the finish line,
not far now. And then you get the
not far
banks
now.
involved. It's game over.
And we talked about, I just was trying to catch up on some of the quick tweets or X's or whatever we're calling it these days. While Corey was going through that, Eric Trump is now shilling Bitcoin. So we'll see what happens with that.
Shill them all. If he's smart,
That's,
he's invested in multiple.
oh, they're 100. They
I know. I
definitely
mean,
are.
we know they are. I'm just saying for the people out here, the the maxis, whether it be the altcoin maxis, the Bitcoin maxis, like calm the fuck down. There's plenty of money for everybody.
Literally.
There's so much money out there. It's
And if there's not,
insane.
we
Trillions.
can print some more. We can figure it out. We'll fabricate a little bit more money. Well, also
And
one of the things Corey pointed out in the chart is kind of something we alluded to, well, directly alluded to in I think it was 5, but that that period is that global top we were talking about November. So that way you kind of have the practical framework in front of you when you're looking at it. You're like, what does it mean global top? It means that's where he's going to meet these points that Corey's pointed out to you on the chart, and that will be the top for the cycle.
yeah, I mean, I I think that I was wrong because I said April was probably going to be the top for us, but as things are starting to roll out, now it's kind of timeline's getting pushed to the right a little bit more. I think you're more accurate based off of kind of the things happening and the approval times and 60 to 90 day or 60, yeah, 60, 90 days, what they're talking about. So see what happens. I it's all up, right?
100%.
You're
And then
not you're not bullish enough.
they're not bullish
Not
enough
bullish enough.
because they just rolled out the framework for the banks to custody crypto, and I don't, people don't even really know what that means. I'll tell you what it means. The interest that they're taking from you on them loans, they're leveraging to buy better assets on their balance sheet because that's nothing but equity for them. So this is going to increase their wealth and buy crypto with that. Like I said, the interest that they're taking from you on the money that you gave them and they handed to somebody else. It's a wild game for them. But it's just going to again be one of those accelerators that we talk about on the process.
So it would be the equivalent of instead of having like a crypto.com, Coinbase, Kraken, whatever wallet on your phone, you would have said banking app and the bank would be the holder of your crypto. I'm just talking through this. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. The bank would have your crypto, but they're holding it for you. So that would be the custodial part of it. They're holding it for you. You have their app just the way that you would have any Bank of America, Wells Fargo, whatever your
Yeah.
bank is. And but it would essentially be the same thing. You would have your checking, your savings, your crypto.
Yeah, along those lines. But I'm more specifically, I'm talking about how they would spend their money and, they would add more liquidity to the market because regardless of what they're, okay, you go up there and get 10K, whether it's in, pick your favorite altcoin, pick your ISO token or pick cash, regardless, in that sense, I think that the interest payments made on that alone would just strictly go, be diversified into these altcoins and things like that.
Gotcha.
You know what
Oh,
I'm
look
saying?
at
Because
Nate giving y'all game tonight. Come on.
well, because that money that like I said, that's just equity for the bank. So it's just on their balance sheet as a cash balance.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can turn that cash balance into something that's accelerating at, whatever, 10, some of these things, 20, 30%, 200% over a year's time, I just think that's the more likely outcome because that is the money is their job. It's all they do is make money, figure out how to make more money, how to leverage money, how to,
Oh yeah.
It's gonna, I don't, the whole bank thing, it's gonna be just like your crypto.com and your Coinbase app. It's really not gonna be a whole lot of different. It's just as far as like them holding, like if you buy cryptos on those exchanges, they're holding your coins. Same thing with the banks. It's just going to be in your Wells Fargo or Bank of America or Chase or whoever you decides to do it, which I think Bank of America will be one of the first banks to do it because they're already tied in with XRP. I would say, honestly, maybe in 6 months, we might see something now that they're allowed to do it. We might see them specifically roll out where you can probably buy, and it's going to be always like the first main coins, your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, the one everybody loves and wonder why it's on there, Litecoin, uh, probably
Doge.
Doge on there, like it's always going to be the same like top five coins to initially start, and then they'll add more as time goes on. But
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Banks are interesting to me. I think their biggest advantage to this is if you buy it through your banking app. Let's just say I don't know, you got 10 grand. Well, we ain't got to use that big enough. We'll just say 5 grand of Bitcoin, right? Maybe now you can put that up collateral at the bank. Like, hey, I need some liquid cash, or I don't want to sell my Bitcoin, but I need some cash. You can take a
And
loan
borrow
out
against
against,
it. Yeah.
yeah, borrow against it. So that would be more easier way for people to do that versus kind of how you have to go about doing it now. There's a few more steps, but I think it would streamline it. So that might be their biggest.
It's there's more utility with banks, but it also is it's feeding the machine that this all was created to fight against anyways. One of the machines it was created to fight against. Obviously, it was created to combat inflation. But
Well, see, that's
yeah,
almost where I get upset with the other arguments too, because it's like, okay, well, your argument is that Bitcoin was not created to do this. So why are you arguing that Bitcoin should be the one doing it when they've created other assets that are directly implicated to do such things? And you get mad at that. Like that's what Ripple set out to do was to, work with the banking industry, revolutionize it, tokenize it, everything like that. So again, it's just one of those kind of hypocritical talking points that people kind of get off on. It's like, shut the fuck up. You probably own both anyway, even if you're a maxi. Like just you know what I'm saying? Get over yourself. There's plenty of money. Store of value, and then everything else is transactional. Leave it alone.
Another thing I would say too is like we were talking about news and you how you hear about these people buying all these billions of dollars, and then you look at the price and it doesn't move. Kind of what we were talking about earlier, it takes time to take effect in the network and then the system. That's because they don't go on exchanges like Coinbase and all these things and buy $1 billion. They don't even have that much probably for them to buy at the time. And if they did that, it would significantly impact the market. So there's this thing called OTC, over the counter trading, which is specifically tailored for large purchases and sales, which I think is kind of an unfair thing because they try to dress it up and frame it as, oh, it's to help prevent the market from slippage and, more volatility, but
it's the wholesale price.
it's and they're not buying it from order books on exchanges. They're buying it. The OTC desk says, "Hey, I have a buyer that wants to buy $1 billion of Bitcoin." They go out and they find somebody who's willing to sell $1 billion of it, and it kind of happens off of the markets. You get what I'm saying? So if let's just say you had $1 billion worth, and I'm looking to buy 1 billion, I go to OTC desk, and they're the middleman that connect me and you, and I buy it directly from you. That doesn't necessarily impact the price right away. You get what I'm saying? But once the OTC desk dry up, now they're going to be forced to go buy crypto or Bitcoin off of the exchange, which will impact it because now you're pulling from the supply.
How is it going to dry up? They're always going to somebody.
OTC,
Yeah.
because certain ones have like some of them do like what I was talking about, middleman, where they link you, and then other ones have like a liquidity pool that they pull from. But also on the same note, what happens if nobody wants to sell? So I have $1 billion buyer, but no sell, nobody wants to sell because they believe the price is going to go up. There's Glassnode, and there's another one. Glassnode goes into this. They have analytics on uh exchanges supply and OTC supply, and they're both like going down drastically.
Yeah.
So
I saw
again,
I
what
saw the Glassnode one.
eventually you're going to hit a point where it just again, nobody's willing to sell. People are going to hold on to it. And that goes into what I was saying, to where what happens when Bitcoin's trading at 200,000, nobody wants to sell. Now it goes to this point to where now you can basically make up your own price. If I believe it's going to $1 million, you could tell the buyer market value is 200K, but I'm not willing to part ways for anything less than five. So, I mean, it's the same thing with cars. It's the same thing with houses. When COVID hit, a 20, $30,000 cars were selling for 40 and 50 grand, $10,000 over sticker because nobody had any inventory. You
Supply and
couldn't
demand,
find it.
baby.
You couldn't find it. So we're gonna eventually hit a point like that. And that when that day comes is when it'll be exciting. And that's where my mind goes to thinking when I hear you say Cynthia Loomis wants to buy 1 million. Uh, who else? There was another. Ark Invest wants to buy a million Bitcoin. Like you want to buy 1 million, you want to buy 1 million. There's only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be created, and we're already down to like 17 million due to lost Bitcoins that have been lost from people losing their keys and whatnot.
Well,
So,
just to clarify, that ARK Invest said that Bitcoin is on pace to hit 1.5 million for one
oh, okay,
token.
okay. I thought you were saying they want to buy 1
Mm-mm,
million Bitcoin.
no.
Okay.
And Cynthia Loomis wants to get what 200,000 or something
for the next 4 years.
in the next 4 years. Yeah.
All
But
right,
we
those numbers seem more reasonable. But
and we already
my
hold.
thought was everybody wants to buy 1 million. How are they going to get them?
Godspeed and good luck. I mean, yeah, it's supply and demand. It's basic supply and demand. It trickles down. It's the same thing across the board. You named it in cars. It happens with my beloved whiskey. It's across the board on everything. It's just
Economics.
when there is scarcity on something and there is not a infinite number, it's finite. They're only going to make so many bottles. They're only going to make so many cars in a year or at a time. It's same thing with Bitcoin. They're only mine so much in a year. They're only going to have so much by the time it finally hits its expiration point. It it has a finite number to it, so the price is going to be dictated by the consumer. All right, boys. Crypto segment. Anything else y'all want to give the people? What would you tell them since we had such a down week? Nate, let these people know something to take their mind off of this down week.
I think you need to start looking at these down weeks as an upside and then give you more time to buy in and, maybe put some money in places where you have those coins where you had those considerations thinking, well, maybe I missed out on that one or maybe I missed out on this one. That's certainly what I did. Expand the portfolio a little bit. If you see a project that you're interested in with a lot of growth, good community, a lot of news behind it. And I mean, dollar cost average. If you know where
Beautiful.
it's going, why would you be afraid to buy more? I'm gonna laugh at myself because I didn't buy more XRP at 250, but I was buying Ondo and other things, so not too worried about it. I got a good position there, so don't be
Well said.
afraid.
Corey, what you got for the folks?
I mean, he pretty much hit the nail on the head. I was I echo the same thing. Like, just shift your mental. Matter of fact, your emotion too. When your emotion is telling you things are scary and prices are dropping, is the indicator that you should use within yourself to go buy. When you're excited and the price is going up and up and up, and you want to go buy, you either shouldn't buy or you should take some profit. If the all-time high is 109 and you're buying at 105, you're making a risky move. If it's all-time high is 109 and you're buying at 90, 95, okay, that's not as bad. But you, most new people aren't going to have that much conviction to be buying crazy like that anyways because they're still learning. This is just one of those things that the more you learn and educate yourself, the more you understand it and the more you're like, I need more. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the more ignorant you are, the more you feel
You
like you
feel like
don't
you
need
are
it.
so far behind. The more you learn, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. So again, it's funny to me that there's still people out there that like all this stuff is going on and maybe they hear it, they're not understanding what's going on. Again, the conversation I had with my one of my managers, I was explaining to him the whole ISOs and banks replacing the Swift system. Well, they say they're going to use them together, but it's a transition. Y'all are moving out of an old system into a new system. Eventually, this is just going to go by the wayside.
Hmm.
But I'm explaining this to him, and it's like the light bulb's still not going off. I'm just like, dude, like he's like, oh, but what happens when the price drops? Like that's what everybody's worried about. What happens when the price drops? That's your gift. That's when you should be buying more. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah,
should be stacking aggressively when prices are dropping. If you have a long enough time
100%.
horizon, you can't go wrong.
100%. I mean, it's always gone up year over year. So I would just, the only thing I'm going to add to that is do a little bit of research. Just open up a financial book, learn some new vocabulary, expand your horizon a little bit, understand economics, do the shit that we got to stop blaming the school. School didn't teach you shit. That was indoctrination. It's up to you. Nobody's coming to save you. Do it yourself. Read a book, learn something, progress. With that said, I'm rolling into the bottle of the week. Boys, drinking a Buffalo Trace product tonight, about $80 MSRP on the shelf, coming at you live. God bless, we can't even see it because of this. It's E.H. Taylor, straight rye. What a mess up that was. We're ringing in at 100 proof here. It's a high rye mash bill. It's got a nice amber color to it. Damn, you could have. I'm over it. Anyways, high rye mash bill from Buffalo Trace. It's a great bottle. Probably one of my favorite ryes. But then again, I'm just a Buffalo Trace fanboy. I love everything. All their products are great with me. So on the nose, I get a little bit of spice, your typical rye, kind of grassiness, mint, beautiful on the nose. It is so nice on the nose. Usually the ryes are kind of like little punchy, a little stingy on the nose. So on the palate, you kind of has a nice viscosity on the palate, oily. It drinks like a different than your typical rise. It has a nice vanilla, which is usual for bourbons. Got a little pear in there, some cinnamon. There's a little bit of like oakiness to it, and then on the finish, it's kind of you get like a quick burn. It's peppery, and then some of those nose notes that I got are kind of coming through on the back end for the finish. E.H. Taylor straight rye, good stuff. Not that easy to find, but if you do, sip away, friends. It's great. Cheers. Mm, damn. All right. What's happening? Current events. Lots of people have been approved. They're now getting into their chairs. We got Cash Patel. We got Tulsi Gabbard. We got
Yes.
RFK Jr. We got uh God, who else? There was one more that was on my brain. Nate. Who we got?
Pete Hegseth,
He
Secretary
Hegseth.
of Defense.
Yes. We got a lot of moving parts going on. They all had to sit in front of the front of the House, Congress, get basically they had to get their balls busted and defend themselves against the same rhetoric that's always been thrown around about them. We got um kind of crypto-y but crossover-y news. You got MicroStrategy's change their name to Strategy
B.
B. You got Michael Saylor, who was on Forbes magazine, the Bitcoin alchemist. Um, I'm throwing out a bunch of stuff here. We got Trump, who signed the executive order to remove men from women's sports. He did that earlier today. We have tariffs going off, which is what caused the whole downturn. Well, it's speculated that it caused the whole downturn. The the tariffs that were applied to Canada and Mexico, talks were happened between both nations. They're put on pause at the moment, and China obviously got in on that. So there's a lot of tariff stuff going on there. The world is kind of like looking at Trump going, "Whoa, holy shit, this man is coming in. He's maneuvering, he's making plays. We weren't even ready for it." But he tried to tell him for a very long time. He said it's 6 years ago.
What are y'all thoughts on on the whole tariff thing? Do you feel like it will positively impact things or negatively? And I'm not talking like the short term market stuff that they're uh, like you said they're saying that that crashes the markets, but I don't know. I was trading SPY today, and
But that's not even like I know he said it's people can say it's because of the tariffs. It's not because of the tariffs. It's because of the mindset of the people in the market when the tariffs were placed. It didn't even take action and it dropped. So we can't sit here and say that. It's just another one of these things that people come out and dramatize and sensationalize it. But the tariffs it's just a pressure system and it works. It's clear. Like it didn't happen. And I think it's interesting now to see because things happen so quickly under the new administration that it doesn't even give the media really enough time to form the narrative of what they want it to be. And so I think that's interesting because they're also kind of exposing themselves as this gaggle fuck of, whatever information they want to put out because within 9 hours, they were trying to form the narrative that this was the end. This is the trade war that's going to end everything. Jesus is coming back. Trump's a dictator, blah, blah, blah. But by 7 a.m., it's like, oh, we already resolved that. We have a nice resolution for the next 30 days, see how this little probationary period goes, and then we're going to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
So, all this drama, all this hysterical bullshit around it. It's like we haven't even seen how the negotiation went. You're just talking based on a theory and something that is going to be implemented if we don't have this conversation and draw a conclusion as to an agreement. Same thing with Canada. Oh, we're fucked. Canada's going to cut off the power. We're going to like no, not going to happen. Unlikely to happen. It's not impossible, but at the same time, it just strengthens some of the other positions within that Republican administration. Whereas, why should we ever rely on some other country for our lights and food to be on and for our people to be eating? Like, what's the point of being a sovereign, individual, free nation if we can't even take care of ourselves?
Right, right. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a leverage point. I mean, anytime there's export and import talk, and I think those are leverage points to get kind of what we need, right? I mean, we talked about it before. We're the big brother to the rest of the world, and the rest of the world looks to us for innovation and everything else. And sometimes you need those leverage points to it's funny to me that everybody is tough until They get punched in the face. I think Mike Tyson, George Foreman, somebody said that you have a plan until you get punched in the face, and then everything changes. And so we threw out these tariffs. They countered, and then almost like Nate said, within hours it was evolving, it was changing. They were on the phone with, oh, wait a minute, what are you talking about? And the business about, not being able, I think we would be totally fine if we actually did just totally shut off Canada. I don't think they control as much of the numbers and stats are manipulated to a new level that we can't even fathom. So I don't the anytime we get analytics like that, I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever. You can pull on numbers and shift them to make them look better in one department to favor one department over the other. That's where I'm at on tariffs, but kind of went on a little side quest there.
Typical.
Typical.
30 seconds ago, Trump administration plans to present a solution to end the war in Russia and Ukraine next week.
There you go. We got hostages back. We got
Yeah, don't seem to be getting a lot of coverage on those American hostages that are free and home.
it's weird. Weird how that happens.
Don't seem to hear any coverage on all those wars y'all wanted to end that are happen to be ending.
But meanwhile, we got USAID, who Doge has effectively shut down with, again, there's these numbers out here. Who knows, what are the accurate numbers, but the projects that the money was spent on is the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, just it's taxpayer dollars going not being utilized at home for people who are in need of it. North Carolina, California, Florida, all these places who
Maui.
were impacted. I'm sorry,
Maui.
Maui. Yep. No, shout out to my homies down on the island. But all these places, Nate, that could have used some help, could have used a fraction of what they're spending 2.5 million to promote DEI in Serbia, 70K for DEI musical in Ireland, 47 for transgender opera in Colombia. Like that is crazy. I mean, there's like so many more on the list, but it's just like why I don't understand why we are sending this amount of money away. And meanwhile, we got a $700 stimulus for the California wildfire victims. That doesn't even cover their freaking lodging for a week. It's
No,
disgusting.
it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And I kind of want to point out one thing because you're like, we're sending all this money. That money's not really going to these places. That's the number allocated to the budget annually for the program. But
Sure, sure.
where did it end up? Now, I'm sure some of it did trickle into those countries, unfortunately, to promote this new ideology of the West, but it's being dismantled right now. However, yeah, it's all just money laundering shit. Like $150 million in contraceptives to the Middle East. Like y'all don't even pay for condoms to the people in America. That solves your abortion problem, anyways. But there's no funding for that. We just want to argue about it.
Corey,
There's
I see you cheesing.
well, because I mean, I just feel like there's nothing new under the sun. It's the same old stuff, just regurgitated, repackaged, and presented as something different, but it's just the same thing. Tupac said it in the 90s, they got money for wars, but they can't feed the poor. Like it's going on right now. All that money we've sent to the Middle East and to Ukraine and all that, you could have you could have fixed everything in America. You could have built new infrastructure. You could have uh I mean, you could have you could have made things cheaper. You
It
again,
could have
you
changed the
could
whole country,
it could have
to
changed
your
a
point.
whole country
And just to be clear, like,
for better.
5 billion is the number that represented total damage of the wildfires. And in Maui. We'll just use that as the example because it's the oldest one that still ain't been taken care of. They sent $177 billion to Ukraine, which Ukraine can only account for $76 billion. So again, it's just one of these laundering schemes that, well, we don't know. What the fuck you mean you don't know? What do you mean the Pentagon doesn't know where the money is? What do you mean you don't know where it's insanity. And luckily for everyone here, it's coming to an end pretty soon. So
And that's where blockchain comes into play. It's role. So all these people talking about, oh, well, I don't know where the money is, and they can't account for money going and it's missing. That's what blockchain is going to help figure out. It's again, it's a double-edged sword because yes, you can track everything, and people don't like that idea, but uh, just as much as they could track us, we could track them. So it's a kind of
level
levels the
playing
playing
field.
field. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's as you were saying that, I was thinking about, at what level will there be new legislation drafted to say protect like CIA, FBI, that way, certain things can't be tracked.
I mean, there's certain cryptos that we talked about this before. And, there's certain mixers and things that you can do to skate around it. But
But
and
at that
there's
point,
go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say, but at that point, I think the people we're talking about in this scenario specifically are gonna opt out of the ISO compliance, the ones that are all on blockchain and running everything. You might be operating out of some, quick train. You might even drop your own fucking meme coin and just, hey, I'm gonna, liquidate after you pump it up. You just
Yeah.
deposit the 50 million for the drugs, the guns, and the hose, and I'll rug it, and then we're cool. See ya on whatever platform, completely decent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And just my opinion.
I gotcha. It's a different way to go about it.
One way to skin a cat. I was gonna
Oh
say
yeah.
that there's just cryptos out there that are that are specifically designed to be untraceable. So whereas like there's public blockchains, there's gonna be private blockchains too. So yeah, again, there will be ways for them to skate around it, but that's why if the Doge department gets what they're doing done, things like Cardano, and all those things, open public blockchains would be great to have government spending and all that on so that they can't skate around it.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. There's so much. I mean, personally, I'm just of the opinion I don't. There's certain things I've always believed there's just certain things that the public should know and shouldn't know when it's uh for public safety, right? Like, I don't think the public needs to know, certain warfare that we have that we are capable of using
I think they
or
absolutely should know because then they'll figure out that it's not a fucking game, and these are the people who vote on behalf of whether or not that military power is going to be instituted across the world or not.
that's where we defer then. I
No,
don't think that I just or any like event that's happening overseas that doesn't get talked about, I it's fine. I don't think they need to know all that because sometimes it just creates more hysteria and more
Well, then maybe we just
radicals.
shouldn't be fucking doing it.
I,
We need to
I,
pull it back. America first, protect our border, build our sovereign wealth fund. Fuck all these countries. Who cares about destabilizing half-ass countries in Africa? Who cares about any of it? Be gone.
well, they care about it because it's a threat to them. If people were to ever supersede the United States, that's why they're trying to keep their
Yeah, but
foot on their neck, so to
we don't
speak.
fucking do anything about our number one adversary. The only real one that has that capability. Everybody, oh, well, we don't want it with
China.
China. China's the only. They have the only military structure that their whole goal is just to overthrow our government, our military structure. We want to build a military that can destroy the United States military, point blank. That's all they care about.
Well, I'm in agreement with Nate in the sense of the public information. Uh, it's it's like you want people to be adults. You got to treat them like an adult. You're treating them like they're children. Like, oh no, honey, don't tell them about that. We don't want them to freak out. I mean, the more you shelter a kid when they do go out in the real world and they find out, the more the shock to the system it's going to be. So the more information they withhold and keep secretive and keep suppressed, eventually it's going to come to light, and then it's going to be more of a shock to the system versus if we just kind of, not that they have to tell us that like this is what we did today, obviously for like defensive reasons, but uh I don't know. I just feel like again,
I don't think I
people
think
should
that's
know.
I think that's a void statement because Hollywood does a great job of brainwashing and giving people all these crazy thoughts and opinions. And if we've learned anything in the past 4 years, it's people get riled up over the stupidest shit. Could you imagine what they would do if they found out that we had to, you know, gas one building that had one civilian in it to take down three terrorists? Like
Yes, because
it's
then they would at least be protesting on behalf of something they're fucking a part of instead of protesting on behalf of a terrorist organization, via Israel or something along those lines. But I'm a cut because we're going to get way too far into this. You said something about, it's fear based. Okay, well, they're lying to you and it's fear based. The whole reason we ended up in Iraq is because they had nuclear weapons of mass destruction. That's the whole reason we invaded Iraq. It had nothing to do with 9/11. So within the truth there would have just exposed them. So
You're gonna get hysteria either way. Like he was saying, you're gonna get people out there protesting shit that's fugazi, or give them something legitimate to stand for.
very nice.
Um, I don't know. Again, the only reason why people react like that is because you've been programmed and conditioned your whole life. So anytime you do get a dose of truth, it just like riles you up. If you came up your whole existence like that, then it wouldn't be such, people wouldn't be so upset and out of whack about it. I'm sure you're gonna have a few exceptions out there, but you can't please them all. And it's not. I'm not even necessarily just talking about military. Like just a lot of things that they keep out of the public eye that probably shouldn't be kept out of the public eye. I mean, even great example, the whole J or the Kennedy assassination, the whole Martin Luther King thing, like people deserve to know that years ago, and now we finally get to know the answer now. Where it's like it almost is irrelevant to this point. It's just going to be a good story because half of these people are dead, and anything that could have been done about it, we're already past that now. So things like that should be out there. But I'm going to say again, the reason why they're kept secret is because that's their own government doing it. So they're going to sweep it under the rug. They don't want us to know about their skeletons in the closet.
perhaps.
Technologies, technologies that they're keeping under wraps. People need to know this. People are smart as shit. You come up with an idea, people can make it better. Like that's just the innovation of technology. Like you're holding on to something. They could be working on some groundbreaking technology and they could be stuck on it for years. Joe Blow in the middle of Africa could probably figure it out and put the formula together in 2 weeks that's taking you decades to figure out because you got to follow your formalities and your processes to get things in passed and whatnot. So again, when it comes to certain things, it should just be public knowledge. Technology in general, like certain technologies, obviously not like military defense technologies, because now you're kind of showing your cards, exposing your weaknesses. That I understand. But when it comes to like other things, people need to know.
All right. We've all expressed our opinions, and that is why we are 3DS. We'll jump into two more things. 40,000 federal employees accepted Trump's offer. See you
Hell yeah.
later.
They got a motherfucking 7-month vacation.
Yep. Paid through September.
I know he's so evil. He gave him severance and
Yeah,
It's insane.
terrible guy. 40,000. So it's a
Dictator.
lot of people. You got Josh Hawley. Him and Bernie Sanders are gonna try to team up to introduce a 10% cap on credit card interests, which have been sky high, no lie, and you know this.
Man.
Uh, that's right. There's a stat out there for 2022 credit cards charged Americans 105 billion in interest. In interest.
And just wait till that interest starts buying crypto, as we said
Yep,
earlier.
crazy. And then the last thing I was gonna throw out was the FDIC plans to revise the guidelines. That's it. That's all we got.
What a week.
I mean, there's so much more news. It's just like we went down the rabbit hole tonight on a few things. Feel like it's this feels like a good point to shut it down after hours.
Boom, boom, boom.
We start screaming at each
Talk
other
about
and
you
we
fat
we
motherfuckers out here.
we stop being so formal. So having that said, Corey, you got anything you want to say to the people? Nate, you got anything you want to say to the people?
Corey.
DCA, don't let your emotions get the best of you. Don't be aping in and out of your bags just because the price swings. And again, when in doubt, zoom out.
Zoom out, ladies and gentlemen. Dollar cost average, DCA, BCA. You know, you're getting your funds up, you need to get your health up. Ain't no reason 54% of these people out here should be obese, type 2 diabetic, borderline, getting ready to fall out for no reason. All that money
No
ain't gonna
reason
help you if you
whatsoever.
can't move.
And that's it. That's what we got for the week. Cheers, friends. Like, subscribe. We'll talk to y'all next week. Appreciate y'all.